You know, friends, Donald Trump can't stop claiming that the fact that he's criminally indicted a couple of times over somehow represents election interference. He couldn't be more wrong. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump's dangerous, desperate, inflammatory rhetoric continues, unaddressed, unabated, and more often than not, part of his daily, sometimes hourly, rants involve this claim that the Democrats are somehow perpetrating election interference. Well, let's start by looking at one of Donald Trump's most recent dog whistles to his supporters, to his followers, and then let's take on this inane Donald Trump claim of election interference. Let's start with this reporting from Newsweek. Headline: Trump calls for sick puppet Jack Smith to be put out to rest. And that article begins, former President Donald Trump is calling for Special Counsel Jack Smith to be defunded and put out to rest. Trump, who faces federal and state felony charges as he seeks the 2024 GOP presidential nomination, has repeatedly attacked Smith since he was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland last year to oversee twin criminal investigations into Trump's handling of classified documents and activities related to the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. The ex-president was indicted on 37 felony counts in the documents case last month, with the possibility that the ongoing January 6th investigation could still bring further federal charges. Smith stressed that there was one set of laws in this country that apply to everyone in a brief statement that followed the indictment. Trump celebrated the 4th of July on Tuesday evening by launching his latest attack on Smith in a Truth Social post that described the special counsel as a sick puppet of Garland and President Joe Biden. Quote, as my poll numbers go higher and higher, the communists, Marxists, and fascists get more and more crazy with their ridiculous indictments and election interference plans and plots, all controlled by an out-of-control and very corrupt DOJ, FBI, Trump wrote. They have weaponized law enforcement in America at a level not seen before. Deranged Jack Smith, who is a sick puppet for AG Garland and crooked Joe Biden, should be defunded and put out to rest, Trump continued. Put out to rest. Of course, this not so thinly veiled call to violence by Donald Trump comes on the heels of Donald Trump posting President Obama's home address, only to have one of his loyal followers, a guy named Taylor Taranto, himself an insurrectionist who was wanted for what he did at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Yeah, this guy reposted Donald Trump's post of President Obama's home address. Then he armed himself and headed to President Obama's home. Fortunately, he was arrested as he was approaching the Obama residence. You know, if you look up the term danger to the community in the dictionary, you might as well have a picture of Donald Trump. But let's turn to his other claim, this repeated, absurd claim of election interference. So Donald Trump's claim is that if he is prosecuted and imprisoned for his crimes, somehow that represents election interference. Because, you know, he's running for elected office and you can't interfere with that by prosecuting him for his crimes, by imprisoning him for his crimes. You know, you couldn't be more wrong about that, Donald. Well, you know what, friends? Law enforcement agencies actually can interfere. Now, I'm using that term advisedly, though not entirely accurately. Law enforcement agencies actually can interfere in elections. Law enforcement agencies can interfere in an election by indicting, prosecuting, convicting, and imprisoning someone who happens to be running for office when the candidate is a criminal. Because that can't accurately be called election interference. It's called basic, necessary law enforcement. And yet Donald Trump seems to think that the term election interference is like some magical get-out-of-jail-free card, right? It's election interference if you try to indict me, prosecute me, convict me, imprison me while I'm running for office. No fair, election interference. Nope, not election interference, Donald. Just plain old, justice. And justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.